Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this virtual meeting of the Cabinet Committee. I'm joined this morning by Councillor Mather and Councillor Turner. To see you both. First of all, Jenny, membership of the committee?
No apologies. All committee members are present.
Minutes of the meeting, the 18th of August. Any?
Agreed.
Thank you. Are there any interests to declare? None?
No.
Admission to the public, there's nothing private. Deputations or petitions, Jenny?
None received, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any written questions from the public?
We have no written questions, but I do have a letter from one of the objectors, which she has asked that be read out at the appropriate item. So that's agenda item 8.
Well, we'll bring that in.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any questions from council members?
I've no requests from members, no.
Okay, item 8, substantive item. Objections to the TRO number 14. Proposed new waiting at Oak Mills, Newhay Road, and objection to the right-hand turning proposal. Jenny, would you like to read it?
Karen, do you want to bring the report in?
Well, yes. I have turned my camera on. Oh, there we go. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is just an objection report for some proposed waiting restrictions at Oaks Mill at Newhay Road at Oaks. We advertised the scheme and received some objections. The scheme was brought about because planning permission has been granted for a new food store with car parking and associated landscape and works on the former site. And part of the planning condition requires that prior to starting the development, a detailed scheme with a provision of a right turn handling, etc., and a new pedestrian crossing should be submitted and approved by the council. The proposed scheme is aimed, for the yellow restrictions, is aimed at providing safe access and egress points into and away from the site. And we obviously included Appendix 2 showing the proposals, which is the plan. The idea that it's to ensure the safety of vehicles emerging from the junction, and the waiting restrictions were then proposed to ensure the required visibility displays coming out of the new access are free from parked cars, and the TRO order promoted is also shown in Appendix 2. The waiting restrictions were proposed to prevent parking, obviously within the visibility displays, to the new food store, and to ensure safe access and visibility for all road users, including pedestrians and drivers, turning into, out of the development is maintained. We received 2 objections. One was from a solicitor who objected on behalf of the 3 clients. They were objecting on the proposed parking restrictions and the road improvements on the grounds that they would believe these works will obstruct access into their business premises. They also believe there will be a reduction in visibility and the safety of the amenity of the area in which the road runs. In response, the planning application shows the whole area is to be developed and includes those businesses objecting to this order. On that basis, it's noted that the developers will have to relocate the existing businesses, and as such the people objecting would no longer operate from the site, and the legal order to remove the parking and the site, if approved, would become operational. So the objectors will no longer be directly adversely affected by the changes, but if Cabinet Committee choose to uphold the objections, parking restrictions would not go ahead and parking would still continue to operate in the vicinity of the access. We also got an objection from another resident who believes the scheme will impact on their ability to park near their home when all the businesses open again at that location. They asked if the bus stop could be relocated to give more parking there, and didn't believe that that the bus stop would impact significantly on the traffic flow if it was moved. However, officers feel that the bus stop would not provide any additional parking if we did move it, because the bus has to align with the curb, and it allows the clearway to be shorted because of the junction to Gibson Street. If it was moved to the opposite side where the objectors asked, it would reduce the parking by at least another vehicle, in addition to the 3 car lengths, and the clearway would need to be longer to align the bus to be able to pull up to the curb. There's a number of businesses and community buildings in the area, and it is important that we take into consideration and balance these needs together. The parking bays are already a mixture of permit holders only and 2 hours limited waiting, and that's to try and accommodate the businesses. Because those business vehicles can only be parked for 2 hours, there will be a turnover of parking, and it gives residents more of an opportunity to park near their homes. So the implications are the proposed works are considered necessary to ensure drivers turning right into the supermarket can wait safely on New Hay Road with the new right-hand turn lane, and the improvements to the footways and pedestrian crossing will help improve safety for pedestrians. But the yellow lines, officer believes, are more important to ensure visibility. We are recommending that the objections to the waiting restrictions are overruled and the TROs implemented as advertised. This will allow the Food Store to become operational. We would, however, wait until all the necessary discussions with the businesses that are there now have taken place and been approved and agreed before looking at introducing the waiting restrictions. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Are there any further comments or submissions from the public or from the objectors?
I think we have on the call Paul Booth from Ramsden Solicitors, if I'm correct.
Yeah, okay. Can we hear that?
Good morning, councillors and Chair. Thank you for the opportunity to express my client's objection to this order. I, on behalf of my client, submitted an objection for 3 businesses who have for some substantial time occupied separate parts of Oaks Mill. 2 of those businesses have now reached agreements which of necessity is going to require some relocation. One of them has not, nor has any suggestion of any relocation proposal been made. In the report which the committee has, it is said that for this development to proceed, it is therefore noted that the developers will have to relocate the existing businesses and demolish Oaks Mill West. It is true that they will have to demolish Oaks Mill West. No attempt has been made by the developers or those acting for them to seek to relocate the businesses which are currently undertaking business there, and have done, I might add, certainly in the case of the primary business, for upwards of 20-odd years, it being a small engineering shop employing some 10 people doing precision engineering, machining. The effects of this order will be yet another nail in the coffin of this local business, which has no other premises to remove to, and the cost of removal, which would be so substantial. It might be that expected in circumstances like this that the planning decision, a copy of which you have appended most helpfully to your report, to the officer's report, would suggest, would require that there be relocation as a condition of the planning permission. That is not, for some reason, although it might have been expected, the case in this instance, which is why my clients are driven to objecting, if you pardon the pun, driven to objecting to this order. As I say, the approval of which would, if implemented, be the final nail in the coffin of a long-standing business which requires suitable premises to occupy. The other difficulty which there is in relation to this is that there are ongoing county court proceedings between the tenant and the landlord or developer, by which there is an application for a new lease in relation to the premises. Again, it would be premature for this order to be approved in my submission at this stage until such issues have been satisfactorily resolved.
Thank you for that presentation. Would Karen or Liz, would you like to respond to that, those comments?
Yes, if it's okay with you, Chair, I'll respond. As highways officers, we've got the planning conditions the developers have asked they've put into discharge of the planning condition that requires them to present and promote a highway scheme to support the development. The weighting restrictions that we're discussing now will not be implemented until such times as the 278 works, which is to form the access and the right turn lane and all associated accesses into the site. So if the site doesn't go ahead, then the new access road won't be created, and then the TRO that's being advertised currently, or the TRO that we're discussing this morning, won't be implemented. So if there is still some discussions to be had, and if the development doesn't go ahead, then neither will the TRO that we're talking about. It will be shelved.
Thanks, Liz. Comments from my colleagues, Graham or Naheed?
Can I come in, Councillor McBride?
Yes, of course.
So I know this area very well. I know the mill. I know precisely what we're talking about. I've reread the report this morning. I am satisfied that our highway colleagues have the situation in hand, and as Liz has just stated, that this development will not go ahead unless all the prerequisites are met, and the order will not be enacted if it isn't. I believe that it's a thorough report, and we should continue to make a decision today. Thank you.
Thanks, Naheed. Graham, do you have a further comment?
I see Jenny wants to read a letter, so let's hear from the letter before I make any comment.
Yeah, so the letter is from a local resident, and it reads, please could I register my opposition to highways planning order, and then she gives the reference number. The result of the order would be the removal of all the parking for a large number of houses, some of which are back to back. This would create a problem for all householders. I do not think these homeowners realise the changes that are being discussed. When the site was brought for an Aldi store, I was really supportive, but at no point was the potential impact on parking stated. I have never parked outside my own house, as there is a bus shelter and running zone for the buses. I have always consoled myself with the thought that at least I can park further up New Hay Road beyond Gibson Street. I do not think there needs to be a right-hand turn island into the proposed site of Aldi. Traffic could go to the roundabout and back up to the Aldi so they can turn in from the left, which is safer in all respects than turning right across the flow of traffic. I suggested on my first letter to Highways that the bus stop be moved into the new parking lane and the other side of Gibson Street, which would free up some parking space, but it was dismissed. I wanted to look at the plans on the Kirklees website to understand exactly what the curbsides are affected, but could not find them. I would like councillors to delay the decision until the householders affected by the changes can be actually consulted. I cannot see why a leaflet letting people know about the changes to the highways could be posted out to all affected. The only notice was on one street post and when the lockdown restrictions were at the height. I hope this letter at least gives pause for thought and alternative solutions will be considered instead of parking lines. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny, and thanks to the lady for that contribution. Graham, you were going to make a comment.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. The removal of the bus stop, I mean, I'm looking Google Earth here. To me, if you move it above Gibson Street, what you actually do is make it potentially more dangerous, because cars coming out of Gibson Street wanting to join the dual carriageway there can look up and see. If you put the bus on there, they won't be able to see round it. So for me, moving the bus stop, it's going to increase the potential danger from there, from a sightline point of view. So I think, whilst it's a valid point, I think it's more dangerous to move it. And whilst I have every sympathy with the owner of the business that's not yet been sorted the relocation plan out with the owners, that is not necessarily, I would argue, a reason to reject this. That is a civil matter which the solicitor has indicated is continuing. So that is a civil matter, and that's not really a highways matter. For me anyway, and I have every sympathy with them, and I hope that they do find the new premises and protect the 10 jobs, which is vitally important, especially given the state of the economy. So they've got my support if they're finding an alternative, but it isn't really a reason to reject this TRO, I don't think. So I mean, you know, subject to the development going ahead, as Liz pointed out, is I would support this application.
Just on, Liz, would you like to add anything further to this?
Just to say, on the letter from the residents that that's just been read out, the objector suggested that there should be some different arrangements for the highway works. That's not an option that's on the table. The highway consultants and the the developers have put the plans forward and had those plans agreed. So any decision made today won't affect that. All that today's decision will affect is whether or not there are any weighting restrictions put down to protect that access when it goes down. So if councillors uphold the objections and overrule the objections, the access into the new development will still be as it's been agreed, and it has been conditioned to planning. It'll just be there'll be no weighting restrictions, so indiscriminate parking could take place, which will put everybody at danger.
I think that roughly sums the situation up. I think, Graham, you've summed up the point that I think we all have great sympathy with the business and hope that issue is resolved, and it's significant, but it's not material to this consideration. Liz, I think you've summarised the situation with regard to the other objection. I think in these circumstances, I'm open to recommendations from my colleagues.
Councillor McBride, I'd like to accept the report and its recommendations. The officer recommendations, I think we should go ahead and accept, having heard the objections, the representations, and clearly understood the case being made by our officers. I'm minded to overrule the objections and accept the report.
Thanks, Naheed. Graham?
And I'm quite happy to second that, Chair.
So it's moved the majority of the committee are in favour of overruling the objections and going ahead with the order. I think that's it, isn't it, Jenny? There's no other consideration, is there?
No, Chair, that's the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you. So that's the decision of the meeting. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Contributions.
Thank you.